What would you do if someone shoved your friend to the ground and left her bruised? Some people might call the police. Others might throw a punch. But me? I went for something much, much deeper. I reached into his life and erased his future, one class at a time. If you've ever dreamed of watching karma land a perfect punch without lifting a finger, hit that like button, subscribe, and get ready. Because this is the story of how I turned a controlling boyfriend's life upside down, using nothing but a phone, a little insider access, and perfect timing. The setup. Before the storm. Back when the internet still felt like a new, exciting frontier, I was in junior college. Like a lot of students, money was tight, so I moved in with my girlfriend, Lucy, to save on rent. Things were good. Life felt simple. One night, Lucy said she'd invited a friend from one of her classes over for game night. No big deal, right? We invited a couple of people, ordered snacks, and before long the living room was full of laughter, dice clattering on the table, and the smell of cheap pizza. That's when I realized Lucy's friend, let's call her Sarah, was someone I actually knew from high school. Not a best friend, not even in the same circle, but familiar enough that it instantly felt comfortable. After that night, Sarah became a regular. Dinners, game nights, movie marathons. It was like she'd always been a part of our little circle. And then there was her boyfriend, Jay. Jay didn't fit in. At all. He was the kind of guy who sat in the corner, arms crossed, eyes scanning the room like everyone was beneath him. Conversations rolled right past him. Jokes bounced off like bullets on armor. You could feel the tension whenever he was there, like a storm cloud that just wouldn't leave. We invited him to be polite, mostly for Sarah's sake, but deep down, everyone wished he'd just stop coming around. And eventually he did. Or rather, he found excuses not to, which honestly we preferred. Then came the night that changed everything. Sarah called Lucy, her voice trembling through the phone. She asked if she could come over, and when she walked through the door, her eyes were red and puffy from crying. Through broken sobs, the story spilled out. Jay was furious that she spent so much time with us. He accused her of cheating, though she never said whether he thought it was with me, with Lucy, or both. Either way, it was ridiculous. But ridiculous didn't stop him. His anger boiled over into something worse. He started shouting, hurling insults that cut deep. And when Sarah tried to leave, he shoved her back. Hard. She stumbled, tripped over their coffee table, and landed with a bruising thud on her back and hip. Lucy saw the bruise herself later. A dark, ugly mark that screamed louder than any excuse. Sarah swore it was a one-time thing. An accident. That he'd never done it before, but I wasn't buying it. My chest burned with anger, my fists itched to connect with his face. But violence wasn't me. No, I had something better in mind. At the time, I worked in the administration office at the college. Student records, tuition fees, class schedules, every detail was right there at my fingertips. And I knew something Jay didn't. The deadline to add or drop classes was just days away. After that, students were locked into their schedules unless they jumped through hoops. For a regular student, it was stressful. For someone like Jay, a foreign student who needed a full load of classes to stay in the country, it was life or death. That's when it clicked. Why throw a punch when I could pull the rug out from under his entire future? On the very last day of the deadline, I waited until my shift was quiet. No distractions, no prying eyes. I pulled up Jay's record, his name, his student ID, his classes, all lined up neatly on the screen. My heart pounded, my palms were sweaty. I wasn't a hacker. I wasn't some master criminal. I was just a student with access and a bone to pick. I grabbed the phone, the dedicated enrollment line that connected directly to the click. Drop, class 1, gone. Click, drop, class 2, gone. One by one, I erased every single class he was enrolled in. But I didn't stop there. With a smirk, I added new classes. Ones he hadn't signed up for, ones that carried extra fees, art supplies, lab kits, course-specific charges, hundreds of dollars stacking up against his account. By the time I hung up the phone, Jay's academic life was a wrecking yard. No classes, no schedule, a growing bill he couldn't dodge, and the clock, already past midnight. The deadline was over. I kept my mouth shut. If anyone found out, it could come back to me. So I played dumb and waited. The first sign came through Sarah. She had an English class with Jay every Tuesday, and the morning after my little stunt, she walked in to find something strange. There was a new face in the class, a student standing awkwardly in the back because there weren't enough seats. The professor frowned, checked the roster, and started calling names. Jay's hand shot up. Here. But then, silence. His name wasn't called. Confused, he marched to the front, insisting there must be a mistake. The professor, calm but firm, pointed to the official list. Jay wasn't on it. Someone else had taken his spot from the waitlist. Sarah told me later, he argued, he fumed, but it was useless. The professor shrugged, apologized, and told him to leave. That was the last time Sarah ever saw Jay in that class. I never dug too deep into what happened next. A part of me wanted to. Another part wanted to keep my fingerprints off the whole thing. But I did check once, weeks later. His schedule? Empty? All those fee-heavy classes I'd enrolled him in? Dropped too, but not replaced with anything else. Was he expelled? Deported? Forced to pack his bags and go home? I'll never know for sure. What I do know is this. Sarah never had to face him again in class. He vanished from her daily life. And while some nights I wonder if I went too far, if maybe it was too harsh, I remember the bruise. I remember her tears. And then I remember my motto. Mess with me if you want, but mess with my friends. And I'll make sure you regret it. The sweet irony? Jay thought he was the one in control. The jealous boyfriend. The man who could shove his girlfriend around and still show up to class the next day like nothing happened. But instead of control, all he found was chaos. A locked-out schedule. A mounting bill. A future crumbling quietly behind his back. And the best part? He never saw me coming. Sometimes the best revenge isn't loud. It isn't violent. It's quiet. Precise. A scalpel instead of a hammer. And in this case, it cut deeper than any punch ever could. If this story gave you chills, smash that like button and tell me in the comments. What's the most satisfying revenge you've ever witnessed? And of course, subscribe for more stories like this because trust me, we're just getting started.